The conclusion of the Bagnaia-Martín title rematch arrives this weekend in Barcelona. After 19 rounds and 38 races, it all comes down to this. 2 final lights out stand in the way of Jorge Martín, clinching his first ever MotoGP crown, or, in what will be the miracle of Montmello, Pecco Bagnaia could pull off the unthinkable to take his 3rd crown in succession. And while the possibility of that may seem scarce, after all, Jorge Martín does lead by 24 points. History tells us never say never, and anything can happen. The 2006 Portuguese Grand Prix, a race that America's Nicky Hayden was leading the dominant force of MotoGP, Valentino Rossi, by 12 points. Under those grey Portuguese skies, however, a championship storm was brewing.
They've both gone. Hayden has gone, and the Repsol Hondas have both crashed out. Danny Pedrosa and Nicky Hayden have crashed out of the Grand Prix of Portugal.
With Hayden taken out in the most dramatic of ways, Rossi was set to take home a huge 25 points. But there was yet another twist.
Rossi leads the way, Elias is there, Rossi under the fairing, they're absolutely side by side. They come over the start-finish line now. Who is going to be Elias? And Tony Elias wins!
Those 5 points would prove to be more valuable than anyone could imagine. Valencia rolled around, Rossi on pole, Hayden 5th, and an 8-point advantage for the Italian. Hayden needed a miracle.
Rossi looked like he bulked it a bit off the line. He's back in the field. Looks like Nicky Hayden right beside him, so they're just about to rub elbows.
Hayden moves into 2nd place. Valentino Rossi is going to have to produce the ride of his life. No, Rossi's gone down.
Rossi's down.
Rossi's down. Rossi has crashed out. Rossi has lost the World Championship.
A miracle for one, a nightmare for the other. In what was MotoGP's greatest underdog story, a rider that was respected by all achieved his dream, and the Kentucky kid could barely believe it. The 2013 MotoGP season saw the start of the Marc Marquez era, but his run to the title in the last 3 rounds came under fire, thanks to a lot of pressure from Jorge Lorenzo. Australia and the famous Phillip Island. Marc Marquez came into round 16 of 18 with a 43-point advantage over Lorenzo, but would leave with only 18 in hand. After a recent resurfacing, it was decided a mandatory pit stop must be completed midway through the race. Each rider had to come in, but Marquez continued on for 1 lap too long.
Marquez has stayed out there! Marquez has stayed out on the track! I do not believe this!
Lorenzo would go on to win, and as MotoGP moved to Japan just 1 week later, Lorenzo would keep on winning. With Marquez 2nd, the points gap between the two was just 13 as they arrived in Valencia for the finale. Marquez on pole, Lorenzo 2nd, just the way a title decider should be.
Pedrosa puts himself in front. Lorenzo fighting back already into turn 2. What can Lorenzo respond with? Here he goes. He almost takes Danny Pedrosa's right leg off.
This is unbelievable. They're at it once again.
Oh, and on the inside, he's going to force Pedrosa a little bit wide.
And at that point, it was all down to the title duo to battle it out.
He will try and rub up Marc Marquez now at the front, and here he comes.
Into turn 2. This time again, he's very strong in there once more.
Across the line, Lorenzo would win, and despite winning the final 3 races of the season, he'd lose out to rookie Marc Marquez by a mere 4 points in the end. "2015, we all know the story by now.
Rossi is back into 3rd place. What can Marquez do? Side by side they come.
Oh, Marquez all about riding around the outside of Rossi at turn 12, braving the extreme. That would have been, he rides around the outside of a turn 13 instead. He absolutely mugs Rossi on the outside. Rossi looks really good.
Valencia and the final round. 1 title contender on pole, 1 at the back of the grid. Rossi's 7-point lead meant if Lorenzo won, he had to be 2nd to take the title.
Lorenzo, though, has got the dream start.
Valentino Rossi's already picked up 10 places on the opening lap. Valentino Rossi, the crowd go absolutely crazy. Rossi inside the top 4.
99 wins here in Valencia.
2015 belongs to Jorge Lorenzo.
As they crossed the line, it would be Lorenzo that took the title, and for the second time in his MotoGP career, Rossi would lose out by just 5 points. 2017, the year of mapping 8, and what an important team order it was.
Well, there was a team communication from Ducati just telling Jorge Lorenzo to change maps.
Its meaning wasn't so clear at first, but it soon became obvious. It was a switch positions order, and it was crucial. Those 5 points with Dovi going ahead of teammate Lorenzo, but the title fight rolled on to the finale. Valencia arrived, and in truth, Ducati was struggling all weekend. They were there in the race, but couldn't make the progress they wanted, and Ducati felt it was time for Dovizioso to be let through.
Oh, here we go. Look, we've had the suggested mapping 8, the famous mapping 8 then to Jorge Lorenzo. Lorenzo, again, the team communication suggested mapping 8. And I repeat, he said he didn't see it. He genuinely said he did not see that message, the team communication, which was quite clearly coded team orders to yield a place to Andrea Dovizioso.
With chances running out, the race was suddenly thrown on its head.
Oh, dearie me, Marquez! Unbelievable!
One final lifeline was thrown Ducati's way, but pushing on, Dovizioso ultimately couldn't capitalise.
Oh, Dovizioso! Oh, it's all over. It's game over.
It was that last do-or-die push that brought Dovizioso's title chances crashing down. And so came to an end an unexpected title finale classic.
Marquez wins his 6th world title, his 4th in the MotoGP class.
"2021 is perhaps not so much an example of late title twists, but of just how costly mistakes can prove to be. After finding his stride late on in the year, Pecco was closing in on championship leader Fabio Quartararo. Leading from the front in the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, his 3rd win in the last 4 races would see him pile the pressure on Quartararo. Or so it would have been, until Bagnaia's momentum and championship charge came crashing down. While this was far from a final round title twist, it was an error that would show its importance once the standings were finalised at the end of the year. Those 25 points that Bagnaia threw away would see him lose the title by 26. That Valencian Sunday back in 2021 could have been a much different fight. And finally, the last season. The finale in 2023 was the culmination of countless twists and turns throughout the second half of the year. 2 riders were pushing to the limit and constantly trading championship close. Martin's sprint prowess was counterbalanced by Sunday mishaps and errors. There was brilliance in Thailand.
Look at this by Martin. He knows he's going to be really, really close. He's going to squeeze Binder out one. Another big swing in this World Championship battle. Martin completes the dream treble in Thailand.
An equal disaster in Australia and Qatar.
3, 2, 1.
He might even miss the... Probably taking the victory. What an incredible last lap here. High drama in Phillip Island. Martin missed the start. He got massive wheel spin on the Prima Prama Ducati.
On the other side of the equation, Bagnaia was pulling out consistent results on Sundays, but suffering severely on Saturday. It all led to a finale in Valencia that saw one rider having to throw everything at it, and Jorge Martín did exactly that.
A 9th sprint win of the season, World Championship, game on still for Jorge Martín.
With 14 points between them, it was all on the line, and it didn't take long for it to reach boiling point.
Up with the World Championship over here.
With the writing on the wall, Martin commenced his fight back.
Martin trying to recover some of the lost places. On the inside he goes of Alex Marquez, working his way firmly back into contention here. On the inside of Maverick Vinales is going to try and tough it out. On the inside they go through turns 5, shaking his head.
But ultimately, it would all come to nothing as the final straw was pulled on lap 6.
This is MotoGP at its very best, when it's all on the line. The world's best riders. Oh, that's Jorge Martín. They've tangled in turn 4, and that is game over.
It may not have been the one-on-one dogfight that so many wanted, but it capped off one of the most dramatic runs to a season finale in recent history.
Bagnaia is your 2023 MotoGP World Champion.
And so, to the rematch. After the Battle of Sepang last time out, the finale promises to be an epic. Bagnaia must hope for a miracle in Barcelona, but if anything, these examples show that absolutely anything can happen, and the seemingly nailed-on championship victories can come under late threat. As we race for Valencia this weekend, we hope to put on a show worthy of all the countless classics the Circuit Ricardo Tormo has given us.
If you can't get enough MotoGP, click here to subscribe.